The month-long search for the new Baylor defensive coordinator has ended. Who might this new defensive coordinator be? Is it a familiar face? And who might he be bringing along with him? Find out on this episode of Lone Star College Football.
Like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient.
Welcome back to another episode of Lone Star _CFB. Tonight, we have a emergency video coming out as the news broke today that we brought in a new defensive coordinator. Or I say new, but it's kind of a guy that we all already know and had with us for a couple years in the past. So we brought in MATT POWLEDGE from Oregon. He was a safeties and special teams coach over there, as well as in the 2020 and 2021 season, we had him over here at Baylor whenever we went and won the Big 12 championship and the Sugar Bowl. He spent 1 year over at Oregon helping out with the safeties, being a special teams coordinator, and also being the assistant defensive coordinator over there, while the Oregon Ducks went 10-2 and 7-2 in their conference. So, I just want to go over some quotes that have been going around today. This is from Dave Aranda and said, "We are thrilled to welcome MATT back to Waco. MATT is an elite defensive mind who has a great understanding of our system on and off the field. His experience both on our staff and elsewhere, paired with his understanding of person over player and his ability to connect with student athletes, make him an ideal fit to serve as our defensive coordinator." When I first read it, I was like, man, that name sounds so familiar. Why does it sound so familiar? And then I realized this is the guy that made Jalen Petrie, right? So Jalen Petrie had the skill sets, not taking that away from him. But this guy right here is who coached him up to be the leader that we needed on our defense then and what we miss now. And on top of multiple other guys. So some All-Americans that he coached. This is for defense, special teams. Jalen Petrie, as we all know, who is tearing up the league right now. Treston Ebner on kick returns. And then whenever he was at Sam Houston, it was a punter and a kicker. Some conference players, same people. Jalen Petrie, 2021, safety. Treston Ebner, kick returner, 2021. And 2020, again, Treston Ebner, kick returner. So this is a guy that most Baylor fans are going to know. And I think, personally, we should be happy with this hire. Oregon was, I believe, a top 5 team in interceptions this year. And their one bright spot on defense was their safeties and their DBs, right? They led their team in tackles, interceptions, obviously, and were able to bring in a couple of stunts for the safeties to go get the quarterback like we do with our star position with who we had. I say had because Al Walcott also entered the transfer portal today, sadly. But this is another guy that he's bringing along, but not from Oregon. This is linebackers coach Christian Robinson, who played at Georgia as a linebacker, and then he went on to coach for, I believe it was 3 years at Florida. And then he finished this last season at Auburn until he got fired whenever Hugh Freeze came in as the new head coach, and weirdly enough brought in Ron Roberts to go with him. So this guy knows the game as well. He played the game in this position at one of the best defenses in the nation. So I'm going to go over some guys that I've also been seeing us go for in the transfer portal, or some guys I think that we should be able to bring in. So I'm going to start with a guy from BYU, as we've already brought in 2 BYU players. This is Gabe Judy. He is a 6'2", 185-pound sophomore defensive back, from Austin. So it's going to be one of those guys that grew up down the road about an hour south of Waco. He finished this season with 30 tackles and 6 passes defended, no forced fumbles, no interceptions. That's another. It's one of those guys that we're going to need that we could potentially mold, especially with Coach Powledge, coming back. Another guy is from so I have the guy from BYU and 2 linebackers that have been with Christian Robinson. So that would be DeJuan Black. He's a 6'3", 223-pound junior linebacker transfer out of Florida. Doesn't look like he's been able to play too much as far as looking at his stats. He has 7 total tackles over the past 2 years. That's 6 solos, 1 assisted. And then David Reese, 6'1", junior, 238 pounds. Again, it's another guy that didn't look like he got a lot of snaps, and he's just now wanting to go out there and get his playing time. He, throughout his career in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022, man, he's got to be on his COVID year by now. He's had 15 total tackles, 8 solos, 7 assists, and that's it. This year he only had 1 tackle. So that's just a couple guys I think he could be able to bring in, hopefully. Be able to fill in some of those spots, just add another layer in our depth chart that we're starting to miss out on as we've lost now 3 defensive backs to the transfer portal. We're missing out on Dylan Doyle because he's gone. Siaka Ika's also gone because of years of eligibility. Like their time's over with Baylor, sadly, and those guys will be greatly missed. So speaking of Jalen Petrie earlier, I want to bring up what David Smoke from Sikkim365 had posted on Twitter. And he says, I just spoke with Houston Texans safety and former BU football All-American Jalen Petrie, and one of the questions was his reaction on the hire of MATT POWLEDGE returning to Baylor. And Jalen went on to say this, I'm excited for him. He was my position coach at Baylor. He's the best of the best. He is also a true players coach who truly cares for his players, and he knows the game of football very well, along with putting the players in the right position, and looking forward to see what he is going to do with the team. Now, I want to go back over this again. Just this last part that he said. He knows the game of football very well, along with putting the players in the right positions. That is going to be huge for us, as we are losing our star Al Walcott for, I'm not sure why. I don't know if him and Coach Powledge don't get along or what that whole story is there. But hopefully we're going to be able to bring in some of these transfers that we've been looking at. Another guy is Cameron Kelly from North Carolina. I don't have his stats pulled up right now. It's just another guy that's in my head. I think he could possibly come in and help out as far as a little bit of leadership. He's got a little bit more experience than the guys that we got. I believe he has 1 more year left of eligibility. Just a couple. It's just one of those videos where I'm just like, look, this is what happened today, and I want to get it out here to you. That way, y'all have the information that y'all are looking for. I don't know what else I have. Let me just scroll through my notes that I took today. So Powledge led Oregon to 3 top 15 wins and the Holiday Bowl title against North Carolina that just wrapped up yesterday. The Ducks are ranked number 15 in the college football playoff rankings. Oh, they're ranked 8th in the nation for interceptions, 24th in red zone defense, 33rd in rushing defense. And that was all before the bowl game. So at Oregon, he had a defensive back. Bennett Williams earned all Pac-12 honorable mention. And he was at the star position, so where we had Al Walcott this year. So I'm hoping. I was talking to Christian about this earlier. I'm a little bit more excited about this hire than he is. I'm hoping he can bring some of these Oregon guys over, dude. If they're really like locked with him, come on. Because chances are, I saw somebody on Twitter, I forgot to get his name. He was recruiting them to Baylor, and then he ended up going over to Oregon to where they would then flip regardless. Well, if they weren't committed, it's not a flip, I guess. But then they would follow him up there and play for him. Like if he is as good as Jalen Petrie, which I believe Jalen Petrie, if he is as good as Jalen Petrie is putting out there and Dave Aranda, then I think we're in good hands, especially with him coming from Dave Aranda. Baylor was his first Power 5 job because he was at Sam Houston and then some smaller schools at Louisiana before coming to Baylor. I think we're in really great hands. So he's gonna have a little bit more like stunts compared to what Ron Roberts was running, and what I think is gonna happen, anyways. Just from watching a couple Oregon games. In case y'all didn't know, Oregon's one of the teams that we followed for the better part of the year. I couldn't sit down and watch every single game just because of that time frame. Let me put this back up here. But man, I'm excited. I think that we can finally hit the portal like we should have been doing, but we didn't have a defensive coordinator from December 1st until today. That would be Thursday, December 29th. And I'm excited. Hopefully it's not too late for us to be able to go into the portal and get a couple of these guys. And we can start rebuilding this defense back to what it was in 2021 whenever Matt Powledge was with us as the safeties and special teams coach. Also, special teams. Our special teams was one of the worst in the nation. So I'm hoping bringing this guy back is going to be able to get us back to where we were when we had Treston returning and our punt team and kickoff team were some of the best in the nation at that time, in my humble opinion. But, man, it's just a lot of hope. It's a lot of hope. And I cannot wait for January 8th when Malik Hornsby, I'm not sure how much we have in that bucket, but I can't wait for him to announce his transfer commitment. And I'm hoping it's to the Baylor Bears to be able to bring Blake Shapen a little bit of, not necessarily take his job, but make his seat a little warm to get Blake to that next level. You know what I mean? But with that being said, that will be the end of this video. It's kind of a shorter video, kind of right there in the middle. Just getting that information out to y'all. Make sure to check us out on TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at LoneStar_CFB. And make sure to subscribe to the video. Baylor fans, I know there's not, I struggle with this myself. There's not that many Baylor podcasts out there, sadly. And hopefully if you watch this whole video, which if you're a Baylor fan, I'm pretty sure you did, consider subscribing to the channel. We're going to be trying to bring out more Baylor content along with Texas content. I know y'all don't care to see that, but it's a Texas and Baylor podcast, all right? It's fun, okay? I make fun of Christian all the time. But make sure to subscribe. We are almost at 300 subscribers. We're trying to get there before the end of the year. I believe that gives us 3 days. Wow, 2 days now, I guess. Trying to get to 300 there, and whenever we get to 1,000 subscribers, me and Christian are going to try to go to this, probably the last Texas Baylor game, and we're trying to bring a couple of y'all along with us. So all you gotta do is subscribe, comment on the video, tell us what you think and some things that you want to see, and who knows, you might have a chance to have a ticket to the Texas Baylor game. But anyways, if y'all made it this far, I appreciate you. See y'all later. Sick 'em.